Hello,
Okay.
everyone. Welcome to the Better Health Education Series. And today we have Swamiji from India. Welcome, Swamiji.
Om Hari Om. Namaste to all. Wonderful.
So,
Happy living.
Swamiji, thank you for taking time in between classes to do this for us. I know that you're super busy and Boli. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So as a brief introduction for people who don't know Swamiji, Swamiji have been teaching yoga for at least 30 years now. Like he have been teaching in big yoga institutions as well as on his own for the last 10 years. He have taught in India as well as in Canada and in Bahamas and in other places. So Swamiji, like you have literally thousands and thousands of students, and most of your students are actually yoga teachers. They're not just normal yoga teachers, they're well-known yoga teachers. So Swamiji, like of all the time that you start teaching when you were in your 20s, and now you're a mature adult, a mature Swami. What do you say is like the number one benefit that most students are able to take away, when they do like a proper yoga class? Either that be like, physical hatha yoga or Vedanta, or like just understanding of the spiritual aspect of yoga.
To give the answer to that, we have to see yoga in its a holistic aspect. Generally, when people hear about yoga, they see first the physical aspect. They get carried away by it. And many people, they get stuck with it also. But yoga in the traditional way is not seen as just the physical aspect alone. It is a science which it takes care of all aspects of human personality. Physical to start with for a beginner, that's the way it is. But it is much more than that. The traditional yoga system will put so many classifications. Hatha yoga is only one of them, where we see more the physical side of it. Of course, there's a philosophical side, is it? They call Jnana Yoga, path of knowledge is there. There is, of course, the devotional aspect in it. There's a selfless aspect in it. There's so many different aspect of it. So, a person who comes to yoga, they first start with the practice side, the sadhana side, the physical aspect. And that's the correct step also. But the teaching says that that's not the whole story. Whole story is much further. It has to take care of our physical aspect, the vital aspect, mental aspect, emotional aspect, intellectual aspect, spiritual aspect. So many dimensions we have. And yoga is maybe the only system which takes care of all aspects in a systematic way. So when people start practicing, they just do start with the physical practice and they realize that there's a lot more. Of course, when the teaching starts, the broad picture is given that it is not physical alone. The philosophical side is there. And of course, the yoga practice which we do is only one small part of the whole life. Yoga in its broadest aspect is seen as a way of life itself. So once that aspect, just going to yoga class is only a small thing. Of course, in the beginning, it's very important. And that what we practice in the yoga mat is, of course, it will help to run our life in a better way. But yoga gives much deeper understanding of what life is. Not only just about asanas and pranayama, muscles and nerves, and a little bit of a prana, that kind of mind meditation. Yes, of course, these are all important. But it gives you a beautiful picture of what life is, what we should do, what we should not do, what's the goal of life. Like the whole picture is given. So the physical aspect is only just a stepping stone. Even if you go up higher in the spiritual dimensions or yogic dimensions, of course, you don't have to stop the physical practice. That's there. That's what the more the gross level, physical level we see from outside. But lots of transformation should happen from the deeper level about our own life. Why? And the science of yoga in its broadest aspect give answers to all of them beautifully, satisfying answers. So that always will inspire people to come back again and again. Because in the beginning, they understand that they only scratch the surface of yoga. That they can just keep on doing it because we have the physical dimensions to be taken care. Without taking care of that, we cannot do the subtle sides of it, emotional and intellectual aspects. And that's very important. Of course, we have the relationships, we have the life around, we have the society around, we have the job around. Also, we have the stressful society more and more all around. And yoga, in its broadest aspect, will take care of all of them by understanding what the life is, so that we can create our own immunity, our own withstanding power to external stresses. So for that, you need a more deeper knowledge, and yoga as a science gives the whole knowledge itself. So it's not only physical aspect, but physical aspect is more very important, no doubt. But the deeper science is something more satisfying. Say a person who comes for a yoga practices, it is they are going with a more inner understanding, not only just how to do the yoga postures or breathing exercise, but how to deal with life itself, where I am placed in my own evolution. And that a beautiful picture is amazingly they get, and that's inspiring. And but just by listening to it is not the complete journey. Okay, that is the initial inspiration, but that gives them a chance to go deeper and deeper. And for they need more inspiration, more remindings. And if there are some roadblocks on the way, how to go about it. So all is they're part of the yogic sciences. So people come back again and again, going for more deeper understanding, and so that they'll be able to deal with the practical life in a much better way.
Yeah.
Yoga is not seen as just running away from responsibility. Oh, I do only meditation. Not at all. It is seen as dealing with life in a better way,
Yeah.
to more peaceful inner nature plus the peace of everybody around. So it's a broadest vision is there for yoga. So that's the way yoga is taught. Of course, generally, if you do some physical standing on the head or some postures and everything, okay, that's a wonderful thing to do. That's a very beautifully, the science is given there also, but it is much, 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 much more.
Yeah.
So it's a holistic way. So people come for more deeper inspiration. And because in our day-to-day world, we are not much that way inspired. We don't have this information or knowledge given in the normal world. Even the yoga world itself, they're slowly contracting to more the physical dimension only. It's not expanding in other way. So people get more and more satisfied that by having the yoga in its broadest aspect gives solution to all other problems of life. And that's beautiful, and that's satisfying, and that's inspiring, and that brings people back again and again to the same knowledge to go more deeper. So that kind of inspiration we get from people who come back again and again. So that's beautiful.
Like you mentioned that, people do come back, and the few times that I've been with you at the ashram, I see the same faces over and over again, which is really nice because we have a little community. And but you have also always warned us that, be careful of your yoga ego, be careful of just reading, like chanting the Bhagavad Gita backward and forward, but not able to use it in real life. You also like want make sure that we don't just know what we know, but we learn from other teachers as well. You bring in other teacher to your ashram to teach. So like, you know it's hard to, I find it quite hard to balance the desire to want to know more, because like you said, there's so much more and they are quite amazing. The more you read, the more you want to know more. And yet the practicing in real life, sometimes I felt like, I only practice maybe less than 1% of what I know. And I want to practice more because, like you said, in practice, that's the only time you know what you actually know it or not. Otherwise, just intellectual, blah, blah, blah. So how do we balance? You need any advice for, students who have been exposed to Vedanta, exposed to yoga theory, exposed to the body-mind connection? How do we balance not learning more and yet actually use it every day? Use it in our relationship with family, use it at work, use it in our daily handling of stresses. Like, what would be your advice?
Yoga in its theoretical side, even though it talks about the deeper philosophy of Yoga Sutras or the Vedantic sciences, it talks about the deeper side. But if these teachings does not touch my life at the moment, what I should do and what I should not do, that knowledge is incomplete. That's not the right way of giving intellectual information about and explaining about the intricacies of life. That's wonderful. But the same teaching also gives us what I should do now, this moment. Swami Shivananda says, famous sentence, an ounce of practice is better than tons of theory.
Yeah.
So that both should be there. The teaching should include what I should do in the present moment. How I can see all other people equal to me. What I have to do for acceptance. What's the truth behind myself and other persons, and how I can bring that into my life. That's also included in the teachings. Otherwise, if the teachings are only just a philosophical theory only, which does not see any connection to my present life, that teaching is impractical. And the real spiritual practice, spiritual learning, philosophical learning will include both. And that's beautifully given in the tradition. And that's actually learning these theories and how you put this in life. When somebody comes to me, yes, how can I see without any judgmental? See the without any bias, how I can see. And that is taught in this philosophy. And then that actually brings the best way of dealing with the people. And that's very, very, very important. And of course, the medium through which they get more connected to the practice and is maybe yoga practice at the instant that wonderful inner feeling. Yes, it is much more than that. We always expand the theory from the theory of asana pranayama or any of the things to more how to deal with other people, adapt, adjust, accommodate. That's what maybe the measuring rod for our inner understanding. So we have always wanted to have more knowledge, and but if that remains as a theory, and if I don't find how I can put it in my personal life, what's the whole point? We're not saying that theory should not be learned. Yes, it should be learned. But as Swami Shivananda says, we should not become lip Vedantin.
Yeah.
Just a tape recorder, we are able to give wonderful explanation of everything in life. But in between, we don't know how to handle our own personality and how I can adapt and adjust to different personality, different people, different society, relationships, all how I can deal with and bring peace and happiness to myself, to others, all. If that is not there, what is the whole teaching about? So here, the spiritual side or the deeper philosophical side of this science talks directly on that. So it is not away from. Beautifully, the sadhana of the yoga and the theory of yoga go hand in hand. So, a part of the learning, nobody goes to learn a very high Vedanta and become a lip Vedantin. Just, okay, you can explain the whole thing. You can learn Sanskrit. Okay, all are necessary. But at the same time, how I can keep my feet still on the ground, not getting too much of pride on those kind of things. You see, that's the problem. Like that. But as part of the journey, initially one will become caught in this or trapped in this yoga teacher ego or philosophical teacher ego. This is a part of it. But that same teaching should take us out of it also. That's part of our growth. So we had to be careful. That's why many times as part of our teaching, we always go to the experts. Hey, verify, see whether I am getting more into my head or not, whether high-headed or not, philosophical headed or not. And then the usually the teachings will given, hey, be watchful. Where are you going? Are you getting more and more identifications or egoistic, or you're getting ego out one by one? So that will be a part of the journey, part of the practice. So both are there. So that's a beautifully mingled in our tradition of yoga. So that's wonderful.
Difficult, but we'll aim for that. We'll aim for that balance. So, like Swamiji, you mentioned that you started yoga when you were very young, and then you started teaching professionally as a Swami in your 20s. And, both of us are middle-aged, most of my students are also, getting to that age as well. And as you know, the world population is aging everywhere. So for people that are older, they're not exactly flexible. They cannot just, get in. Some students cannot even touch their toes with their straight leg. So for people that are older but really need the mental, physical, and spiritual awareness for their quality of life, what would be your suggestion for people that are, mature adult with with the condition that we have been? So what do you think is the best way, or what are the possible entry points for more mature students who want to try yoga and meditation?
First of all, we have to understand what is my personality. Okay, it has got a physical aspect, which is aged day by day. I have a inner personalities of mind and senses and understanding and all like that. So my personality includes all of them. And what exactly is the maturity? When I am younger, of course, I can do lots with my physical body. But when I get stuck, identified with that personality of my youthful life, and get stuck. When the body ages to become 40 or 50, if you look for that kind of physical, so-called physical success, you won't get it. That means you don't become mature yet. We got stuck there only. So as you grow in age, you have to understand that the physical abilities will have its own decline. That's okay. That's how it is naturally. Once you have that acceptance, your personality won't, you don't get stuck with the physical dimension. You'll stuck with the more the deeper level understanding. And that is your maturity. So automatically there will be a transfer from a physical personality to more your internal personality. The inner satisfaction will be more and more. If that is not built up, that teaching has some problem in it. It did not make you grow out of your more gross level personality to more of a subtle level personalities. That is part of the teaching. 100% is there. Of course, at the age of 20, you could do so many of physical postures, flexible and everything. But we know that there's something which I could do at the age of 20 or 25. I know I am not able to do it. Because body is like that. Body is aging, growing, and then it has its own way of growing it. So what I should do with my physical body at the moment possible, you have to be contented with it. That contentment is something to be cultivated and understood. And more you're convinced with it, yes, my body can do only this much. That's wonderful. That's enough. But inward, I am more mature. I am more balanced. Otherwise, some personality predominant temperament which I have, if I get stuck, and if you are not able to go out of it, that is the teaching says no, that's not the correct teaching. So it takes it all aspects of a personality you should, and so that is very important. For when even if you just suppose come across the so-called hatha yoga practice or asana pranayama practice at the age of 50, let us say, of course you have limitation. But if you consider yourself comparing yourself to a 20-year-old, you're a failure. You're not get mature enough like that. So, okay, my age of body is 50-year-old or 60-year-old or 70-year-old. Then with that acceptance, what is best for me to do in that dimension? Yes. And then grow out of it. And then that will become more balanced. And that should be cultivated. Then then life will be more easy. And you don't mind whether you're able to do some asanas or not. That's not a big issue. So, so that's very, 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 very important, that understanding. So the teaching tells you exactly, and that's beautiful about it. That learning is not only the physical dimension. Of course, even something which I could do maybe 20 at the age of 20, now I'm not able to do when I am 50. But I accept it. That's fine. That's okay. That's what that part of the growth is. But I'm maybe my predominant my identification more that subtle level, more and more. So that's beautiful. So you are growing out of it. So part of the teaching, if that kind of information is given and the people are convinced about it, they'll be happy with whatever they're able to do. Of course, that does not stop them making for accomplishment in any dimension. So that should be their part of the teaching, and then it will be wonderful. Still do the basic practices, still go to the advanced level, and again, the best measure whether you are spiritual or mature or not is to be able to adapt, adjust, accommodate to any situation. Once you have that ability, any stress of life is not stress. Of course, we have, if you have to face it and deal with the problems, we'll do. And then our success is not getting things accomplished, making things peacefully. The path itself is happiness, and is also happiness.
This adjust, adapt, accommodate. You apply it to everything, right?
Everything, yes, yes, every situation. So it's very important.
Well, thank you, Swamiji. Thank you for taking the time to give us some advice. And I know that you have something else coming up, and thank you so much for your time. So we will put your Shivananda Yoga Vidyapedium link down below. And then for other people who want to know like beginner, baby, kindergarten level body mind awareness, there's some information here as well. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful to be with and to give some light to the world. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for sharing. Thank you. And I look forward to see you again in India at some point.
Please come, please come.